13 places that operate with no government. Have you ever wondered what life looks like in places where no government exists at all, no police, no municipal services, no courts, and no formal authority? Today, we're counting down 13 real locations on Earth where people survive, live, or exist entirely outside the reach of traditional state authority. 13. Bir Tawil, Egypt, Sudan. Our list starts with one of the most unusual territories on Earth, Bir Tawil, a roughly 2,060 square kilometers patch of desert between Egypt and Sudan that no internationally recognized government claims, making it a rare example of de jure unclaimed land. This odd situation came from a border dispute going back over a century. In 1899, Britain and Egypt drew a straight-line border along the 22nd parallel between Sudan and Egypt. A few years later, a different administrative border was drawn to match tribal movements. Egypt insists on the 1899 border and claims the nearby, more valuable Halaib Triangle, while Sudan insists on the 1902 map and claims that triangle instead. The result? Neither wants Bir Tawil because claiming it would undermine their respective claims to the Halaib Triangle, leaving this land terra nullius, or nobody's land. Bir Tawil has no permanent residents and no functioning government. Some nomadic groups pass through, and there have been internet sensation micronation claims, but none are recognized by any state or international organization. 12. Slab City, California, USA. On the way to North America, Slab City in Sonoran Desert in Southern California is referred to as the last free place in America. Following the U.S. Marine Corps' abandonment of Camp Dunlap, the concrete slabs of its foundations became the refuge of wanderers, RVers, and off-grid dwellers. No local government, no mayor, no city council, no police, no power station. Citizens are left using generators, solar energy, carried water, and improvised sanitation. Locally, conflicts are resolved using community standards and not legal measures, and law enforcement is used only in cases of necessity. The county sheriff will be responsive in cases of calling, but there is no routine police presence. Slab City is in a deep legal gray area, which makes it an odd example of a community with little to no formal governance. 11. Kowloon Walled City, former Hong Kong. Though it is no longer there, Kowloon Walled City was one of the most extreme forms of dense urban life that ran with virtually no governmental control. What started as an ancient Chinese military outpost, it became a legal gray area where the British colonial rulers and Chinese government had no real power. By the 1960s, tens of thousands of inhabitants occupied closely built, interlocking, unpermitted, uninspected, non-planned constructions. Essential services like sanitation and controlled electricity were missing in large measure. Although there were criminal groups, the majority of the inhabitants were common families in need of cheap housing. The city operated informally despite the harsh conditions until it was demolished early in the 1990s. 10. Marie Byrd Land, Antarctica. And next, we will head to the frozen deserts of Marie Byrd Land, which is a part of Antarctica and is the largest terrestrial landmass on the face of the Earth that is not owned by a state. The Antarctica is governed by the Antarctic Treaty System that freezes and denies new territorial claims. There are research stations belonging to different countries, yet none of them has sovereign control over the territory. The treaty declares the whole continent as a region of serene scientific investigation and prohibits military action, mineral mining, and new national claims. Consequently, Marie Byrd Land is a land in a privileged geopolitical situation. It is neither claimed, it is not inhabited by permanent dwellers, it has no government nor civil government. 9. Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, Ukraine. Chernobyl Exclusion Zone came into existence in the year 1986 after the catastrophic nuclear accident in 1986. Although Ukraine still exercises official authority over the territory, it is quite ungoverned on the local level. Few older individuals, the so-called self-settlers, have also returned to reside in deserted villages, although there are prohibitions on habitation by the authorities. The zone lacks such municipal needs as water systems, police defense, schools, and healthcare facilities. On the contrary, inhabitants depend on wells, gardens, and informal systems to maintain life. This community exists largely outside formal governance structures, tolerated but not supported. 8. Auroville, India. Founded in 1968 near Puducherry, Auroville is an intentional community based on ideals of human unity and collective decision-making. While located within India and subject to international law. Auroville manages daily life through participatory bodies like the Residents' Assembly and Auroville Council. The land is held in common, and the inhabitants are viewed as stewards and not owners. Although state authorities are the ultimate lawmakers, the everyday ruling is mostly internal and consensus-driven as opposed to traditional political systems. 7. Palmerston Island, Cook Islands. Palmerston Island is one of the most isolated inhabited places in the Pacific. Legally part of the Cook Islands, which itself is in free association with New Zealand, Palmerston is home to a small population descended from one settler family. The island does not have any regular government, no police or municipal government. The day-to-day living is communal one, as the decisions are made and cooperated with in the family. Water collection, fishing, and infrastructure are maintained by the community itself rather than formal state institutions. 6. Tokelau, New Zealand territory. The Tokelau group of 3 atolls in the South Pacific functions according to traditional village councils known as the Taupolega. Although part of New Zealand, these councils govern locally and deal with local issues such as land use, fisheries, and community welfare without much interference of centralized government. The atolls have no political parties or big government institutions. Decisions are made by consensus within walking distance of each home. 5. Republic of Uzupis, Lithuania. In 1997, Uzupis, a neighborhood of Vilnius, proclaimed itself the Republic of Uzupis. This community is legally a part of Lithuania, but formed its constitution, flag, symbolic president, and traditions. The laws it has are playful and philosophical, such as the right to make mistakes or rights of dogs. Uzupis operates primarily through shared cultural identity and informal self-organization, with residents handling community matters and resolving internal disputes largely without direct involvement from government authorities. 4. Mount Athos, Greece. Mount Athos is a self-governing monastic region in northern Greece with a long tradition of autonomy. Although it remains under Greek sovereignty, nearly all internal governance is carried out by the monastic community according to its own religious and administrative rules. The Greek state has no interference with much of the internal affairs, and daily life on Mount Athos is governed without traditional systems of government like elected authorities and law enforcement. 3. Principality of Sealand. The Principality of Sealand is one of the strangest in our list, and it is an offshore platform situated in the North Sea which was constructed in World War II. In 1967, it was occupied by a family who declared it an independent principality. While not recognized by any nation, Sealand has its own symbolic constitution, flags, and even coins. Although legally it lies within the United Kingdom's extended territorial waters, Sealand remains a fascinating example of a place that purports to operate outside normal government authority. 2. High seas, international waters. The runner-up on our list isn't a single spot on land. It's the open ocean itself. Waters beyond any country's territorial sea or exclusive economic zone are known as the high seas. No nation owns this vast area, which covers roughly 45% of the planet's surface. Under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, the high seas are governed only by international agreements, with enforcement left to flag states and cooperative naval forces. There's no centralized government and no territorial police. The water has no sovereign power, and the laws are enforced by the country under whose flag the ships fly. Piracy, illegal fishing, and uncontrolled activities happen because of the poor governance in these zones specifically. 1. International waters, the world without government. At the top, the biggest area on the earth with no rulers is the high seas, where no central authority can be found, and where international treaties and voluntary cooperation are the only means of governance. These waters carry more than 90% of world trade, but still there is no physical government to control them. Enforcement depends on multinational efforts, and gaps in oversight remain enormous. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this.